Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. It's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. The Saints have finalized their 53-man roster, at least for the moment, although it is going to change, so stay tuned for that prior to their season opener with the Falcons on Sunday. Saints a field goal favorite over a team they've dominated during the Sean Payton era, although most of these games have been close.
They have, and you would expect the same, especially on the road, although even when Atlanta has come here in most cases, they've been very close games as well. And I know you made a great point yesterday in the premiere episode of SportsNOLA TV that you look at what happened a year ago, and really that set the tone for 2 seasons. That one play at the end of the game with Kenny Vaccaro, the deflection, Roman Harper, the interception in the end zone, really set the tone for 2 seasons. The Saints went on to get a similar type last-second victory in Week 2, and that set the stage for what they would do throughout the year, winning 11 games, and the Falcons and the Bucs went in the other direction. So, the key thing in my mind as the season gets underway, especially with 2 games on the road and 3 of the first 4 on the road, is to be able to get off to that good start, even though you're away from home, trying to, so to speak, break serve and try to pick up a couple of wins before you finally come back here in Week 3 against Minnesota.
Junior Gillette signs a contract extension, an important player to lock up for a long-term period of time, obviously. And, of course, the kicking position, Lenny, it appears likely they will bring back either Dimke or Graham.
Well, someone is obviously coming back. Thomas Morstead's not going to kick field goals, so someone is coming back. Will it be Dimke? Will it be Graham? Will it be someone else off the street? All indications seem to be it's one of those, and the reason they did what they did, you've got to, if you're going to put somebody on a short-term injured reserve situation, you had to have them on the roster on Saturday, and you can't make that move until Tuesday at the earliest. So we could know something later Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, in terms of someone going on that injured reserve with the opportunity to return. Is that a Fort? Is that a Lorig? Is it someone else? We'll see how that plays out. I think personally that's a little bit of a risky move in terms of trying to use that spot because you might have someone else down the road that you want to use it on. But you take away that option because you can only do that under the current rules with one player during the course of the year.
Yeah, they hope Lorig can play at some point during the season. We have no idea about his injury. And with Fort, they don't want to expose him to waivers. That's simple. So stay tuned. LSU with a remarkable comeback. They played lousy football for the better part of 3 quarters and then turned it on and showed that they were the better team and beat Wisconsin in what was a really strange game.
It really was. And, of course, the focus of the discussion in Louisiana was just the comeback by LSU. The rest of the country was like, what happened to Melvin Gordon? He was outstanding in the first half, broke off a long run at the start of the second half, put him in range to get another touchdown to make it 24-7. Now we're learning a little bit more. He did have a hip flexor. They were trying to be cautious with him, but as others had mentioned, he was okay to be in there to pass block, but not to carry the football. So, he's either in or he's not in. He's healthy or he's not healthy, and look what happened. They got away from running the ball, and that was a totally different team when you made them pass the ball. So, with LSU, you had to be encouraged by the effort late in the game to be able to come back, showing some moxie there, not to be too far behind. Clearly the fake punt changed the momentum of the game. Even though they only went down and got a field goal off of that, it just certainly it changed the tenor of things at that point. If they had punted back to Wisconsin down 24-7, no telling what might have happened at that point.
Yeah, they found a way to win games in the fourth quarter previously, and that's been their MO. They win one way or the other. Sam Houston State coming to town. That's their home opener this coming Saturday, and it should be a nice opportunity for them to take a look at some young players, more lengthy in terms of how long they play. Now, in terms of Tulane, a very disappointing opener because it was a tough loss. A game they led most of the way, losing in double overtime at Tulsa. Some very bright spots offensively, certainly not defensively. They're going to have to improve dramatically because Georgia Tech comes to town with their triple option, a better football team than Tulsa. And, of course, the other big story is the opening of Yulman Stadium.
Yeah, you've got the stadium, and this is a different kind of defensive strategy that you play. When you play a triple option team like Georgia Tech, like the academies, it's assignment football. and it's different than anything else you will do the whole year. Now, Tulane having a little bit of an extra time with a Thursday night game at Tulsa. They've really got 9 days to prepare and things like that. So does that change the dynamic of how they approach this? Maybe get an extra practice in? We don't know as well. When some of these closed practices, how much work they may have done trying to prepare for Georgia Tech, being that it is so different during preseason. So, and of course, like you said, the real big story in this is the opening of the stadium. It's going to be a sellout. Very few tickets, from what we understand, remaining for the entire season there. So they could be playing, virtually an entire season in front of sellout crowds at Yeoman Stadium. And that's, look, jury's still out on how this will all play out in terms of all of the dynamics of being back uptown and, the parking and such. But look, we'll find out a lot more here after these next 2 Saturdays.
We have our SportsNOLA.com top 10 prep teams up via Monday, and the Louisiana Sports Writers top 10's up today on Tuesday, and we move forward during the week. And, of course, big games for week number 1, including starting on Thursday night, we have a radio game with De La Salle and Grace King from Pan American Stadium on WGSO 990 AM and at WGSO.com. Friday night, we have a live game on SportsNOLA.com as the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase continues as Rummel battles East St. John in reserve at Keller Stadium. You can watch it on WHNO on Saturday. And, of course, our prep show, which SportsNOLA carries live, and our scoreboard, which is second to none via Ken Trahan's original prep football report, begins this Friday night, 20th year, 6 p.m. to midnight coverage every Friday night. I'm dizzy talking about high school football.
I understand. It's here. It is, we've gotten through the scrimmages and the jamborees, and now it is here. Week 1 is upon us, and it should be a very intriguing regular season for a number of reasons. We know about some of the changes as it relates to playoffs. Obviously, that is 10 weeks down the road before we have to deal with that. But there's some great non-district matchups, some great rivalries, that we'll see once again this year. And looking forward to seeing, Friday night Rummel East St. John in week 1. I think that should be a very intriguing, probably one of the 3 or 4 best games on the card in Southeast Louisiana this opening weekend.
Looking forward to it. You can watch it live at SportsNOLA.com. Lenny, have a great week.
All right, we'll see you later this week.
That's our first NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 32 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.